Hi, I'm Bowtie Dave. Well, good morning. It is an overcast morning, but beautifully warm here in the panhandle of Florida. It's been looking like it's supposed to be rain, but we hadn't gotten any. I do know that some of you people up north have gotten a lot of rain, and I mean not rain, but snow and ice, and oh, it's been just a horrific week. And sorry to say, we're providing the moisture for all that. It's just, fire hosing up the middle of the country here. But here in Florida, where it's possible we may not have any more cold weather, but it is also possible that we're going to have one more cold snap before the middle of March. Our average last frost date is March 14th, I think it is, so we could still get cold, but that's not important for today. Today, of course, some of y'all know that we removed a massive tree right here. We actually just topped it, and I want to use the base here, well, as much of it as I can, for this jasmine plant right here. And this jasmine plant has been sitting here for almost 2 months, kind of getting used to its new home. And it's really, you can see all the light green on it is all new growth. It's really looking beautiful, and I think it's going to like its new home. It was, for the previous few months, it was sitting back over there by the compost bins. You might be able to see the compost bins just back over there, the pallets. But it was sitting in that area until the tree came down, and then I put it over here. So it's been kind of getting ready for its outdoor life and for its new location. The challenge is, when you're burying around a tree like this, is these roots are massive. I mean, huge, enormous. And so you got to find a good place where you can bury something this size. You can see that's a pretty good sized pot down there. It's been in that pot all its life. It was given to me by a friend. Thank you, Chris and Shane. And I really think it's aching to live its full potential. And I actually thought about I have a ligustrum right here. Watch some of my garden tours, you'll see the ligustrum that I have here. I've actually trimmed it back when we took down the tree, but I actually thought about taking over that and kill the ligustrum. And in my opinion, it's not a very good part of the, okay, I know food forest is not the right term for what I'm creating here, but I want as much edibles as I can out here, and that's not edible. The jasmine, it may be edible, I can't remember, but it does feed the bees, which the bees pollinate everything else. I really want to keep as much as I can here. The ligustrum does flower, but not as long as this jasmine does. The jasmine will be a lot happier out here and make the bees happier with a similar amount of ground space, and that's why we saved this big 16-foot trunk. I think we might even put some bird houses on it or something. Me and my neighbor, we've been discussing what we want to do with it. But anyway, I wanted to show you real quick how to find a place around a tree like this whose roots are massive. In fact, back there where the yellow pitchfork handle is, I left it there on purpose. There's a root, probably goes down about this big. It's one of the main roots of the plant. And what I did is I was just poking around with a pitchfork and trying to find a good place. And let me show you what I ran into. So I had to go out about 3 feet to even find sand where there's no roots. And that's too far away. I want to get as close as I can. And where it's at over here, you notice there's a little divot in the tree. And I thought maybe we could find a spot there. Let me show you what I found here. So what that tells me, I'm using the fork to kind of explore down there. What that tells me, there's a divot between 2 roots about that big. It's not big at all, and it's not enough room for that big old pot. I had the hope of maybe over here where the red handle shovel is, of doing it there, and it actually looks like there might not be roots on that side, and it's leaning that way. But I poked and prodded around real good, and I couldn't find a gap more than about that big on that side, which really surprised me. I thought I'd find a place there. And so on this side right here, now the disadvantage of over there on the first pot is it's full sun, and the sun will be shining on that, the trunk of that vine. It could hurt it. We have some pretty intense sun here, and so it'd be better if I can put it around on this north side. This right here is the north side of the tree, right where you see the dark mark. This is the north side of the tree, and so the more on the north side of the tree I can bury this thing, the better the trunk is going to be protected as it's starting to grow, and this thing will hopefully engulf the tree and become something beautiful. So we'll have to see. But so yeah, over there on that side, I was surprised where the red shovel is. I was very surprised. There is no gaps. It is solid roots. It is just mess, and I can feel there's different depths, so it's this mess of roots down there. So anyway, and so I'm looking at this section right here, and it looks like there's a big root right in here that comes out. And so I thought, this will never work. And so let me show you what I found. So I found a gap about the size of that pot. Unbelievable. I couldn't believe it. And so, yeah, Jasmine has a new home. And so I'm gonna go in here with my sharpshooter and clear out a hole. So anyway, you gotta kind of, when you're trying to do something like this, you gotta kind of pry around, figure out where things are. The nice thing about this trunk is I don't care if I kill it. So if I really wanted to hack out a hole somewhere, I could, and there would be no negative effects because it's well, it's not dead yet. It's going to take years for it to die. In fact, I'm going to have to climb up there several times and trim off growths. In fact, did I see one? No, not yet. Here in about a month or so, it's going to start showing little growths everywhere, and I'll have to make a regular habit of getting up there and chopping those off. Eventually, this thing will rot from the inside, and it will become weak, and we'll have to take it down too. But it's been 14 years since it's been struck by lightning, and so I'm kind of betting I can probably get 10 years out of it, maybe. That'd be nice. We had a similar trunk in our house in Texas, actually not even so big, and it stood for about 5 years. So if we get 5 years out of it, great. I actually picked the height to which I wanted to leave the trunk, because that's the point at which I think I could manage taking it down without having to hire a tree crew to do it. So we'll find out when I'm in my mid-60s. Okay, so yeah. Anyway, so I'm gonna dig a hole here, and we're gonna try to plant a jasmine. So I'm gonna speed up the camera a little bit and get to it. So now I got a pretty deep hole dug. There's down to about there. You can see that's plenty deep for my pot. Now comes the tricky part. I bet this thing's pretty root bound. As expected, it's a little stubborn. I've seen other people say that when you get these terracotta or ceramic pots of some kind, the roots will actually grow into the edges sometimes, make them difficult to get out. Oh, there we go. Oh, yeah. A couple of water bottles to prevent the soil from getting out. But looky here, this is definitely begging to get out. It's not too bad. Look, that only wrapped about a quarter of the way around. I am going to tease out these roots some. Encourage them. What happens when you tease out roots like this, it encourages them to grow into the soil they're in and become stronger. Okay. I'm gonna make that fit a little better. First, I want to add a little bit of feed, and I don't have a lot of different kinds of fertilizer on hand. I do have this organic tomato tone. It is a 3, 4, 6. The first number is typically for green growth, the nitrogen. The 4 is phosphorus, that's typically for roots, and the phosphorus and potassium together are for fruits. So this plant actually is looking really good on the green stuff right now. I'll probably come and add some fish emulsion to it when I'm doing to the others. It does need some more root development, and it definitely needs fruit development because I want it to flower this year, although it probably won't flower too much. But this is a slower release, and it's my favorite for just about everything. I know it says tomato tone. It's good for a lot of stuff, tomato and vegetable food, but it has beneficial stuff for even stuff like this right here. The flower is considered the fruit on this. So I do want fruit, quote unquote. Pull a couple of weeds off of this. I don't want to do too much to it until it's, I don't want to do too much until it's established its roots. So I'm pretty much trying to get it in the ground. Need a little bit of this. Kind of build up the hole because it was a little too deep. I give it a pretty good peppering. I want it to get fed for a while. All right. So it's still about a foot out from the tree, but I'm gonna start training it toward the tree. I'm gonna be probably wrapping something around the tree, maybe some twine, heavy twine, to try to get that thing to start finding the tree a little sooner. It's got enough here where I think it can find the tree. I may just go ahead and separate from the little wooden trellis it's on right now to give it a little more flexibility that direction. But overall, I'm very excited. Jasmin down. Jasmin project down. Another one off the checklist. Feels good. Y'all have a blessed, well, actually, before I say that, I'm Bowtie Dave. If you haven't subscribed yet, if you're just stumbling along finding our channel, please do. Every subscription helps. Those of you who have subscribed, thank you so much for coming back and watching our videos. And please click the thumbs up if you thought this was in any way informational, educational, or entertaining. Share with your friends on your social media pages like Facebook or wherever you can. There's a share button below this video where you can click and just share directly to your social media pages. But anyway, little projects, little things here and there, just checking them off the list. Well, it looks a little disheveled. I got to looking at it and thought, you know what, I'm just gonna tie it up. And sure enough, there you go. It's a little tied up. I ran one line of twine around it and kind of pulled it toward the tree and trimmed off a little bit of dead stuff, not much, just probably about, I don't know, 5 or 6 little twigs. But I'm gonna water this in real good and let it be. Supposedly it'll do real good now. Have a blessed day.